Okay. All right. Welcome to tonight's session. Tonight we are going to look at tools we can use in risk management, in project management. So talk about risk in project management. So risk are anything that can cause a project to go out of alignment. Anything that will deviate our project from the intended objective, goals, and issues are things. Some of these are risk that has already happened. So this is what we plan to look at this night, understand all the things, all the factors surrounding risk, things that can trigger a risk in our project, and how do we contain it is very, very important. We know how to contain risk. Yes, we know that project is a bundle of risk. Anything can happen, but that's why they are relying on our expertise. They are relying on our professionalism, on our best practice in project management. And if you understand how to manage risk very well, then you are, let me say, 40% project manager, because risk is a lot in project management. We have a timeline, we have budget, we have a lot of things. If you can manage all these resources very well and be able to achieve the objective, then you're a project manager. So let's get into details to understand this risk and tools. We have different tools. We have tools like Risk Register. We have another tool like RaidLog we can use to manage our risk. We're going to look at the two, and then we'll see the reason why we have to use RaidLog for risk management. So, and after then, you can ask your question. So I'm sharing my screen. So looking at our notes, we can see this screenshot here is a risk register. Is a register we use for registering. We capture all our risk and manage our risk using this register. Call it risk register. And yeah, it's very good, but for me, it's not very detailed. It's not detailed enough for project management. You might see a company using it. If you look at here, we describe the risk in a risk register, the impact, describe the impact level, probability level, mitigation note, and who owns the risk. That's the way the risk register is. Very simple, but I don't use risk register. Instead, I use what we call read log. Read log, this is a screenshot of a read log. Read log is more scalable because it doesn't talk about only the risk. It talks about all the factors that can cause that risk or cause the issue to happen. And in this read log, RAID is an acronym for R in RAID. Okay, let me use this to have small exercise. Can anyone tell us the full meaning of RAID? Tony, can you try? RAID.
I wouldn't want to guess it.
You don't want to get it?
Guess it. Let me
Okay.
watch patiently and learn.
Okay, Obidema, yeah, you can have the floor.
Okay, RAID stands for R stands for risk. The A there is assumption. I stands for issues. D stands for dependency.
Yes.
Sorry, I can't remember the last S.
Yes, you got it right. Like, if you look at this document very well, the expo is here already. All you need to do is look closer at this document and you see where I captured issues, risk, yeah. So these are key words. We have R for risk, and A is for assumptions, and I is for issue, and D is for dependencies. All these factors, all these elements can help you to your project to go into a problem, or can help you to go into this risk or into an issue. So this is where all of them are emanating from. Anything that will be risky in this project might come from any of. So if you are talking only about risk, then it's not enough for me. And generally, best practice, people, a lot of school of thoughts, they have been adopting RAID as the best practice. So I use RAID in my place of work. So many places I've been to, even where we're not, I try to introduce RAID because it's very simple, but it's very powerful way of managing a risk. So this is our RAID log. This is a RAID log. This is what it looks like. We're going to look at it live when we just done with these notes. And this is, we'll have a RAID dashboard. It comes with a dashboard. So after this, I'm going to share this template for us to use. Yeah, that is how it looks like. You see here on this dashboard, if you're capturing a risk, you see the risk. This is the column for risk on this dashboard. Assumptions, issue, and dependencies. You need to look out for all these to make sure that your project is very healthy at all times. Okay. Then let's start from risk. Risk management is the process of identifying, assessing, and mitigating potential risks that could negatively impact the project. It is an essential practice in project management to minimize uncertainties and ensure project success. By managing risk proactively, project team can avoid or reduce issues that might derail the project's objective, timeline, or budget. Okay. Let's first understand some of this way of like risk in our daily life. Risk. Can anybody give us any example of a risk? A risk, let's then understand even what is risk. Example of a risk. Okay, I will start. One example of a risk is an accident. So I want other people, okay, Eche, can you give us any example of a risk?
Okay, we can say the Israeli-Iran war currently ongoing is a risk.
What?
Because it could have impact on the project. The Israel-Iran war at the moment is a risk because if there's a component for your project which is being shipped and it has to pass through the Mediterranean Sea, then automatically it's in danger at the moment because it might not arrive in time.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Tony?
Yeah, to me, a lot of things involve risk, like investing all your money in one stock, you know, hoping that it climb another. It constitutes risk. Anything can happen. Everything crashes.
Yes,
So
that is a risk. Okay, Raphael, that's Raphael.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Charles.
Yeah, good evening.
So, risk, an example of risk could be change in exchange rates.
Okay, fluctuations.
Yeah, fluctuation in exchange rate, because at the point of engaging maybe a supplier, the value of the dollar might say today is 1,570. And in terms of execution, it has risen to about 2,000. So that gap is also a risk.
Okay. Yeah. We've captured Adebanjo. You're raising your hand. Yeah, we need to understand this risk very well. Mary. Okay, let's move to Michael Okoro.
Okay. The collapse of a building is also a risk.
Yes, good. That is an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then, yeah, we have risk as an accident. Accident is a big risk. And theft is a risk. Then okay, Beatrice, I don't want to ignore it. Beatrice.
Yes, as a record label, investing in a musician is a risk because you may get out of it. If you are a record label, investing
Record label.
Yes, when you invest in a particular musician is a risk because you may make money out of that musician. And
that is what Tony said, putting all your stock in one basket. That is an investment. Okay. Can we talk about risk? Project-related risk, like, simple project-related risk. Let's narrow it down.
Yeah, it's possible. For instance, if you're on a project and let's say an IT project, and there's a developer which is highly skilled. Yeah, that is highly skilled, and it's on a shared, it's a shared resource among other projects, you have to work with his availability, because if he's servicing your project and also servicing others, and also supposed to go on leave, you must have to work around his time availability. And if he's something happens and he's not available, then it's automatically going to affect the project.
Staff absentee, or team member absentee, yes, is a risk. Then we'll have risk of timeline. We'll have risk of budget overrun. These are simple risk. We have risk of these are simple risk. Okay, how do we talk about accidents and we'll talk about theft? How do we manage such risk? How do we manage risk like risk of theft, risk of accident? Okay. Raphael, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Charles, just like I said, okay, you said how do we manage the risk?
Risk like accident risk. I pick two risks: accident and theft. Theft, stealing.
In terms of accident, I think creating awareness could help reduce incidents that could lead to accidents.
Yes.
Because if your staff strength are very much aware of the risk involved, the accident risk involved with the job they are doing, now they will be able to apply caution, and that will mitigate some incident that probably will lead to an accident.
Good. You're right. Okay. Let me pick from Azonta as well, and then I will continue. Azonta.
Okay. One of the ways to manage a risk is by escalating the risk to an insurance company.
Escalating it from? Can you put it in a better way?
Okay, by assigning the risk. That's for accidents.
Okay.
But sometimes accidents are bound to happen.
Okay, good. You are there. When we talk about some risk, like accidents and theft, these are some of the risks. We can transfer the risk. You know, insurance policies. Sometimes, please put yourself on mute. Insurance policies. This is a reason. Although I know in Nigeria, insurance is we don't do insurance in Nigeria. Everybody will just buy your car and be driving your car on the road. Nobody cares. Yeah, but here, where you're going to buy the car cannot leave the compound even without. You must get an insurance. That day, you are as well is very, very necessary. And again, risk of theft. These are where the insurance, all the insurance comes in. You can't drive on the road without a car. That is, if your car is not insured and you're on the road, here in UK, it's an offense. It's a big offense. You can go to prison for that. You can lose your license for that. Okay. One morning we came out just to go to work, and we find out that our vehicle has developed wing and flew away. We tried to find this car, we couldn't find the car. And fair enough, the car is insured. We didn't panic Nobody were kind of, all we just would call police and then call the insurance, and the insurance take over. And after 1 month, the car was replaced. And that is it. Then we're going to get a new car to replace the stolen car. Yeah, it was insured, but after the insurance, that particular insurance has not reflected. So we drove the car home, and along the way, the police started following us. Immediately we passed the police, it was flagged up that that car wasn't insured. They started following us, and they flagged us down, and we are lucky. They saw that we have the insurance papers, and we bought that car that particular day, and it wasn't, the insurance has not started reflecting. So the police, you couldn't, when they use it, because once you pass, I don't know, they have sense of the way they do it, is you can detect any car around that is not insured, and it can be a big problem for you. So all this is just telling you that how important insurance is. And in workplaces, you cannot go to, and you can't start work anywhere here in UK without being insured. Anything can happen to you at that workplace. You can be walking and trip and fall and break your neck. Anything can happen. So if health and safety officials find out there is any employee or worker in a site and the insurance didn't cover the person, that is a big risk. You cannot even visit a construction site if they don't have insurance covering visitors. You must wear visitor's tag. That visitor's tag we are wearing, there is insurance covering you at that moment on that visitor's tag. If anything happened to you, there is an insurance covering you. That if you went to the construction site and all of a sudden a brick fall on you, that time you are a visitor. There must be insurance. For that's a way of risk management in workplaces. It's important. Okay. In projects like our own, which we are managing, how do I captured two risks, like risk of budget overrun and risk of timeline overrun. We exceeding our timeline. If the budget, the project is meant to be 6 months and we are overshooting, or we are trying to overshoot, or the budget, the budget is £10,000, or we are planning to overshoot £10,000. How do we manage such risk? These are different risks. We are very important for us. This is the one that is concerning us here. But why I mention other risk is because you are going to start to work. Some of us already working in workplaces, you know that one. Even if you don't know that you are insured, know it. You are insured in that workplace. You know, and insurance is a very big business in this country. They are making a lot of money. So in our own projects where we capture the timeline and we capture the budget. The way we can manage is what we call a buffer. We need to have what we call contingencies. If we are giving 10,000 budgets, as a wise project manager, you don't use that money. Their first planning will be around, let's say, 6,000 or 7,000 pounds. You plan your whole project around 7,000, although you are giving 10,000. If the program manager finds out you do not have a buffer or you don't have contingency plan, they can sack you because you don't have good risk management. These are simple things you can start with. You don't even need all this so much. These are things they want to look at to make sure you understand. As you're having contingency for budget, you're equally having contingency for timeline. If you have 6 months to deliver a project, you can plan the project around 6 months. You plan the project around 4 months. So you build a very tight corner. That 4 months, here is going to be tight corner. But if you sleep, your legs sleep from 4 months, you fall back on 5 months. Your legs sleep again, you fall back on 6 months. You find out that, yes, there is no way you can overshoot your timeline, overshoot your budget. So this is just risk management in a snapshot. That's how a clever project manager should do that. So yeah, that's risk management. So that is we have what we call risk transfer and risk ownership. At times, when things happen, we deal with it. When issues are risks that already happened, we deal with it. How do we deal with it? You own the risk. At some point, some risk cannot be transferred. We own the risk. That's why we've captured such risk in our project. We assign it an owner within the internal team to plan and resolve that risk. Let me give us an example. If we find out we are running short of fund, the fund we have is not enough, somebody within the team should lead to resolve this issue. That means we need more money in that project, or we need more time in that project. Then there's what we call exceptional circumstances in projects. We use what we call exceptional circumstances. Exceptional circumstances, we help you raise awareness that there is unforeseen circumstances. There are things we can't handle. During COVID-19, a lot of companies, the whole city was shut down. There's nothing you can do about it. If you are running on a project and the city, the whole country was shut down for like 1 year, you see the impact. So in this scenario, all you need to do is use exceptional circumstances. You overshoot your timeline, there's nothing you can do, and things like that. So somebody can die, a team member can die, a key team member can die, or a key team member can just resign, and this can affect your project. This is an exceptional circumstance. Trying to replace a key team member in a project is not that easy. By the time you go for recruitment, trying to hire the right person, it's not, you can't just bring anybody to join the team, because you need to make proper interview to get the right person. It requires time. So, or in this case, you use what we call exceptional circumstance and let them understand that it's not, it's beyond your control. And management will always listen to you in situations like this. Then there's some risk that need to be transferred early enough, like the risk of this accident. If we are working on a project takes place in construction site, it takes place in office, it takes place in so many people. So that is why we insure these projects. There's some insurance policy that will capture workplace insurance. They are there. We transfer some of these risks to the insurance. If anything happens, the insurance company will respond immediately. You know, somebody can have an injury. You know, it's a lot of money when somebody have an injury at work. Compensation they pay the person can even be more than the project, the cost of the project. You know, in a situation like that, somebody fall and break leg and cannot walk again. Yes, the insurance company will take over from there. But if that project was not insured, then this company or whoever then is going to pay compensation directly from their purse. That could be a lot of money. When somebody is not going to work for the rest of their life, you need to provide something substantial to sustain the person and their family till, you know, these are big risks. We ignore it in places like Nigeria. We might not, with all this, if anything happened to you, they will even be angry with you and even sack you. And you have injured yourself and they sack you on top of that. So these are some of the risks that can be transferred. If you see a risk you can transfer, you better transfer them to the third party. The one you can own, you own them. Have a mitigation plan to manage such risk. So we're just trying to give us a background so that we understand the risk, understand how it can happen, where it can affect us before we even start looking at RAID log in details, risk register, and the rest of them. So let's move on. So when we talk about key risk management components, the first thing is, how do we spot this risk? That is risk identification. The first thing is spotting potential risk that could affect the project. Then, how do we even spot the risk? We spot the risk. That's why, as a team, we should be having regular risk meeting once every week. We must have a dedicated meeting to assess our project and see where we are having issues, where risks are coming up from. We'll call it RAID meeting, RAID. I call it RAID because that's what I use. That's why RAID is important. You can call it any or risk management, but I use RAID. This RAID is a statutory meeting where the team members should come every week, maybe at least 1 hour every week, to evaluate the overall health of the project and see where we're having like delay. The project manager will equally look at most time where this comes is from delays. We look at what we call critical parts. We look at all the critical, we are going to come into critical parts. We use critical part analysis. We are going to do critical part when we start creating project plan. We look at critical part analysis. All these critical part areas, these are areas we need to keep monitoring. This is where risk can arise, maybe from delay. When there is delay is very dangerous because it comes with a lot of knock-on effects, because their timeline is at danger and their budget is at danger as well. To have risk assessment, evaluating the impact and likelihood of this risk. When we have a risk, we then will do the evaluation, the likelihood of this risk happening. And to do that is during that RAID meeting, we use risk priority number. We are going to see how to calculate the likelihood of risk happening. We use risk priority number. If it's high, then this will help us to understand risks that are critical risk and low risk. If it is critical, very high, then we have to drop everything we're doing and make sure that that risk is resolved and closed immediately. Then we have mitigation, planning responses to minimize the risk. Once the risk is at high, we plan to mitigate the risk. Mitigation, find ways, strategies to handle the risk or avert the risk. And monitoring. We continue to monitor any risk we are working on or the one we've closed. We make sure that any risk that is closed, we monitor to make sure that it doesn't reoccur again. So that is why these key elements are very important. You must know how to identify your risk, assess the risk, mitigate the risk, and monitor the risk. If you have a plan on doing this, then you are a very good project manager. Now we've seen the key risk management components. What are the tools? Tools, we are going to talk about two of these tools. One is called RAID log, and the other one is called risk register. RAID stands for R for risk, A for assumptions, and I for issue, and D for dependencies. The RAID log is a simple, organized document that tracks these four critical elements. These are critical elements in projects, providing a holistic view of project threats and consideration. So these are the the four threats any project can have. Anything that is going to attack your project, if you are very visible, if you are very vigilant, that attack or threats must come in this form, either as a risk, as an assumption, or as an issue or dependency. Risk is uncertainties, things that can happen that can derail your project. Assumptions are things we assume that is going to happen in that project. If those assumptions fail, it becomes a risk. And risk are potential that can affect the project negatively. But when assumptions fail, assumption at the start of the project, things we agreed. For instance, when we're starting a project, we can have 4 solid team members, and we agree that 4 of us are going to finish this project. We are going to be there. Everybody will have a business analyst that is very good, understand the domain very well. And we are relying on this business analyst to finish up this project very well. That is assumption. Is that not an assumption? Is it assumption? We have a trusted business analyst. We agree that this business analyst, yes, he has good domain knowledge of this, and everybody is relying on his personality to finish up. And all of a sudden, you hear that Meta, Meta is now giving out serious bonus. Meta give the guy his own 10 million to join, and the guy abandoned us, and we'll start struggling. You see how a big risk comes in through this assumption. That's what assumption. So these are our critical scenario of assumption. We assume all of us are going to finish up, we come out and celebrate, and along the line you abandon us, and everybody started, the ship started sinking. So and then we have issue. This risk we have been planning all this while, working hard to make sure that this risk doesn't happen. Eventually we couldn't stop it, and it has happened. It's no longer a risk. It has happened already. We've been working hard. We have 6 months 6 months to deliver this project. We work so hard not to exceed this 6 months, but on that final, on the 60th, the last day of the 6 months, we have like deliverable that will last for like 1 month more. And we're already, so this is an issue. It has happened. So what do? We deal with it. So that is issue. Is a problem now. It's no longer a risk. Current problem that need immediate action. Dependencies, other projects or tasks or resources that the project relies on. Okay. Dependency. Activity A need to finish before activity B starts. That is pure dependency. If activity A doesn't finish, activity B cannot start. So if activity A is delayed, activity B is automatically delayed. And other things that are following, that is how delay comes in. And everybody started falling because of activity A. So that's why a project manager, you need to monitor everybody to do it. When you see a project manager pushing, do it. Some people will say, this guy is very wicked. It's always mean. He never laugh. How can you laugh? Project managers, they hardly laugh because they're always under pressure. You know, you are not talking about yourself. You can be sure of yourself, you do it, but what of others? So you need to push them, and you are pushing them to get a result. Some of them will feel, no, we are, you know, some tell you you are micromanaging them, some will tell you you are doing this, you know, here, you know, these are what the project manager, but we are trying to make sure that everybody that is depending on you, you are not a bottleneck to them. And that's it. So that is a dependency. And if there is a project that is waiting for our own project to complete, for their own project to start, they already have a time money, they have a target. Maybe we said our project is going to finish by end of June. So they have planned everything on their project, that the moment we are finishing our project, that project is starting. And we have delay. We couldn't finish on June. Do you see the way we've affected their own projects? Let's look at a CRM system. After implementing CRM system, it doesn't end there. For a CRM system, for you to get the best out of CRM system, you have to integrate that CRM system with other applications. That integration project can be handled by another project manager, not you. So that project manager is waiting for you to finish implementation so that they can start integrating the CRM with maybe Facebook or LinkedIn or other. So when you delay, their own project is gotten delayed. So that is what we call dependencies. This is how risk can emanate from all these environments. So, and that's why RAID is very, very powerful. You see that RAID is not only talking about risk, it's talking about other key or critical elements. And that's why we are using RAID, because RAID recognizes so many other critical elements that is involved. Unlike risk register, these are two tools, called tools. RAID log, risk register. Risk register talk about only the risk. It doesn't talk about the issue. It doesn't talk about dependencies. So if you are using risk register to capture your risk and manage risk in a project, then what happens to dependencies? What happens to issues? What happens to assumptions? But it's up to you, whatever you want to use. But the best for me is RAID log. Risk register is more focused tool, dedicated solely to tracking risk within a project. It details each risk, its potential, impact, likelihood, mitigation, plan, and status. And key sections or components of a risk register is risk ID, description, category, likelihood, impact, mitigation plan, risk owner, and status. So there must be an ID, unique identifier that distinguishes one risk from another risk. Brief description, you must describe that risk, what that risk means, where it comes from, how come. Category, you must categorize every risk. Can be technical, it can be financial, it can be operational, but a risk must be categorized. And then the likelihood is the probability of risk occurring. I talk about the risk priority number. Then impact, severity. If this risk happens, how severe is this risk? How critical is this risk? How many people in the organization is this risk going to affect? Severity is very, impact is very important. That's most of the time, the impact comes with service level agreement. Service level agreement is how fast, response time, and mitigation, that is response time and resolution. If a risk has the potential of affecting every, not just team member, let's look at an organization, there's a risk that can affect the whole organization. And this is a very severe critical risk. What do we do in this kind of scenario? There must be a plan already in existence waiting. Whenever it happens, you trigger it off or you escalate it immediately. I'll give you an example of that kind of risk that has high severity. In an organization today, everybody to do their work relies on internet. If internet goes off for 30 minutes, it means everybody in that organization is going to be idle for 30 minutes. That is internet. For it to show you, the internet is the life wire of even in our different homes. Once the internet goes off at home, everybody will start whining. So that is internet. And where I work, the internet, we have what we call proxy server. That proxy server would even be more effective than the main server we are using. So all we do is, once the internet goes off, everybody will switch to proxy server immediately. Because if internet goes off, some of us here, we remembered when they say Facebook went off for 1 hour. It was like the world is coming to an end. Because so many of us cannot live without Facebook. If you hear that Facebook has finally gone, some people will commit suicide. How, their life revolves around Facebook. So, but some of these content creators, how do they manage this kind of risk? Everything about their life is content creation. Everything is on Facebook. That's how they make their money. In Facebook or their page got closed up. That's why some started having 2 pages, 3 pages backup. This risk management backup. You see, if you are not following some of these content creators, they will tell you, follow my backup page. That is pure risk management. Some of them will go and have another account in Instagram, but all of them are still Meta. They have to then go. If you look at them now, If you go to TikTok, you see that all this our content, they are now beginning to, we used to see TikTok as children platform, but all these big boys now, everybody is now going to TikTok. What does that mean? They are backing up their business. They don't want to have all their business on Facebook. That's risk management. You have another account on Twitter, very lively. That's risk management. Because they can sue Facebook and close Facebook down, and their whole livelihood is gone. So that is risk management in a severe situation. But when a risk is not severe, let's look at where a risk is not severe in an organization. Your laptop crash. How many people is affected when your laptop crash? It's only you. We don't see it as a severe risk. Yeah, all you can do is just give you, provide you with another laptop. Even before we buy you a new laptop, we can just provide it. But it cannot, nobody in the organization will even know that your laptop crashed. But when the internet goes off, everybody will know. So that is severity. I decided to treat this particular because the impact of a risk, that's how we respond. When we have high impact, the time to resolve it should be very quick. Short period of time to resolve it immediately. Like when internet goes off, 2 hours resolution, highest. That is the service level agreement. Should be maximum of 2 hours. The internet should be restored, or the company will be losing millions. But if your laptop crashes, they can tell you, Mr. Tony, JB, we're sorry, but tomorrow we will give you another laptop. We don't have any laptop now, but tomorrow we'll provide you with another laptop. You see, it's now taking 1 full day. How many hours to resolve this? You know, that is severity. It depends on the way they tackle it, will depends on how severe. So that's it. And then mitigation plan to reduce the risk depending on the severity. And risk owner, it must assign an ownership. Somebody must handle it. And status. Every risk must have a status. We must see if it's closed, open. So whenever a risk is handled, we close that risk. Yeah. So Raphael, your hands have been up. I don't know if you're having a critical issue at your own, so we can troubleshoot it. If it's not severe, it's not critical, you bring down your hand. After the class, you can answer your question. But if it's critical, you can ask that question.
Okay, Mr. Charles, let me wait till after the class.
Okay, you can see it's not critical. So it's not something that can shut this class down. So that is what we're talking about. All right. Okay. Now let's talk about, I'm not going to use risk register. It's too narrow for me. So I'm going to drag us to RAID log. Okay. How to use RAID or risk register? First, identify risk and other elements. Start by brainstorming possible risks with project team. Consider potential issues across all project area. Document assumptions to clarify expectations that might later affect the project. You know, be careful. I want everybody to pay attention here. I want you to pay. Why I want you to pay attention here? Because this is how you are going to manage your risk. We are going to start your project very soon. And once every week, we must have what we call RAID meeting. It's important. You people they will decide which day in a week, you choose a day in a week and how many hours you are going to be using for a RAID meeting. It's important because I'll be asking you people to submit some reports. You must be submitting RAID log every week, what you captured, and a team will be every week when you are giving project status report on weekly basis. You need to show your RAID log for us to know how healthy your project is. So, but you might struggle to understand that you are even having a risk. So to do that, this is how we are going to do that. Brainstorming, all the team members, brainstorming for possible risk. Consider potential issues across all projects. Then document assumptions to clarify expectations that may later affect the project. We say that as the assumptions are things we expect that will happen. If it doesn't happen, we start struggling. So you have to list issues that have already impacted the project. If you already have a delay in your project, it has happened already, you need to list the issue. First, you need to deal with the delay. If you have a delay already, you must identify where is this delay coming from. Is it from Afamo Kereke? Why is the delay coming from Afamo? We must understand why Afamo is delaying our project. What is the problem? You don't submit your deliverable and everybody is suffering it. So that is issues. We must find out where the issues are coming from. And when we have issues, we have to deal with it. For instance, we have a delay that is now affecting our timeline. We can say because we already have a delay, then we are going to work extra time. We are going to work on weekend so that we cover up this delay we have. This is the way of you trying to tackle the delay you have already. Once you have extra time, you can use it to mop up all these areas that is delayed and the project will be on track again. Record dependencies that may affect, yes, if you have created your project plan, you always see the dependencies as the, depending on each other, and you will see the critical part you need to monitor. Assess risk. For each risk, evaluate the likelihood of that risk happening. High, low, medium. So you need to use that impact as well. Impact could be minimal, moderate, or severe. Prioritize risk based on the potential for it to affect the project adversely. High impact, high likelihood, risk. We've talked about risk priority number. So we are going to use risk priority number to assess this. Develop a mitigation plan. Mitigation plan. All these risks, you must have a plan on how to handle it. For instance, if you are a very smart project manager, you should know that delay can always come up in a project. You must have a plan. If there is a delay, how do we deal with this issue? I've given you an example. You can say, approach your team, see we have a delay, and we can't continue. We have to deal with it. Because of that, we have to come to work, or we have to work on Saturday. This will give us, opportunity to address this. Working on Saturday, everybody will come, we push. You can even give the team a bonus for them to work extra time to clear the the delay. That is a powerful strategy. Just giving you an example on how you can develop a mitigation plan. Outline actions to prevent each risk from materializing or reduce its effect if it does. For assumptions, document contingency plans in case an assumption proves invalid. Okay, if assumptions prove invalid, like we say we have a project that most people are relying on the domain knowledge of a business analyst. How do we have a contingency plan on this? Can someone, let's just let me do this one again. I don't want to use a contingency plan because I've already mentioned money and the timeline. This is an assumption. We assume that a business analyst we are working with, you are going to finish up with this business analyst. But in case this business analyst decide to leave us before you, what is the kind of mitigation circumstance or mitigation plans? What kind of contingency? How do we plan for this? How can anybody suggest? Okay, Michael.
Okay, I think one of the ways we can mitigate against that is not solely relying on the business analyst input, but having more than one person doing the things that role is supposed to do.
Okay, what if we don't have enough money to recruit 2 business analysts?
Then the project analyst, the project manager should also assume the role too, because he can double as a business analyst from what we've been told so far.
Okay, let's hear from Raphael. Are you still raising your hand for this particular question or the previous?
Stop listening for me. I don't need you. That's all.
Yeah, I might want to train just to support what my fellow participant has said. Now that has to do with key man risk, like where you have just one person who is representing the company or the project in a particular phase. Now, it is also advised you have other people, even if they are not, say, business analysts. They are not business analysts. We probably will not have money to employ 2 business analysts, but every other person within the project team should know what the business analyst is doing, so that when we have a scenario where the business analyst or whoever it is leaving the team, now whoever we are bringing on board to take over would have something to fall upon. So that is also like taking contingency measures to ensure that we don't take a key man risk.
That's good. Okay, let's hear from Chinelo before we analyze our responses.
Just to add to what Michael said earlier, I was going to conclude that that's why it's important to document every process, every stage of the project and collaboration with the business analyst. So should in case business analyst decides to resign suddenly, the project management manager can double down as the business analyst and the project manager. Yeah.
All right, that's good. You see, all of you are still in the same direction and all of you are correct. So that's why you see in these projects, everybody in these projects is a project manager, and everybody, I mean, in this boot camp, once this boot camp is over, you're a business analyst and you're a project manager. It doesn't matter who you can take a role of a project manager. That does not mean that you are not a business analyst. Like I am now, I'm a business analyst. I'm a project manager. I'm a product owner. I'm a scrum master. I fit in anywhere, you know. And these are what companies are looking for. One, they are looking for a CCV where you have experience across, they'll just select you. So the hiring manager, the project manager can tell the hiring manager, yeah, I want hybrid people, hybrid roles, where you be when they are advertising for a business analyst, they can say a business analyst wanted, but you have a good experience in project, a good experience in project management. Or you can say I'm hiring a project manager with a good experience in business analysis. Or you can equally say hybrid project manager business analyst. Then when they come in, you assign them, you are hybrid, but become a business analyst. You become a project manager based on experience. With that, it has not happened, but you have planned for. So if the project manager decides to leave tomorrow, the business analyst will take over the role of a project manager. And nobody will know that anything even happened. Just like having two captains, you know. Once the other one is asleep, the other one will take over. So that's it. Good one. So we are progressing. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is about assumptions, documenting contingency plan in case of assumptions proves invalid, and track issues with detailed action plan for resolution. Then another one is assigning risk ownership. Once we identify a risk, everybody in that team will not be managing the risk. Everybody can contribute, but one person should own that risk. Yeah, one person should own the risk. So Afam, you put yourself on mute. All right. Designate a team member to be responsible for each risk or issue. The risk owner will monitor and report on the risk status and execute mitigation action. Monitor and update regularly. Review the RID and or risk register during the project meeting and update as new risk or issue or dependencies emerge. Like I say, we should have a status meeting at least once every week where we'll be reviewing the risk we have already or the issue we have already, or depending whichever one we'll have to keep on reviewing them, monitor the progress towards resolution, and looking out for new risk coming up. And then we must close out risks that are no longer relevant. Once we have a risk that are no more relevant, we close it up. And that's why I'm saying, once you answer question, we don't have anything, you put your hand down. So like you see here, if you have a risk and we've resolved the risk and we're still raising our hand, it will show that the risk is still not resolved, like the way Raphael is always raising hand up. And so Raphael is not showing that we have not resolved, we have not answered his question, it's not resolved. But we have already answered the question, so that is it. Okay. All right, we have example of a red log in action. Here you see how we use this. This is a food tracker, is a project. A food tracker is a food delivery company like Uber. Used to be, is no longer food tracker now because we are no longer dealing on food alone. It used to be food tracker where we deal on food and grocery. It's now called Better Marketplace. We do a lot of businesses in that marketplace. It's no longer food. But then this is when we try to expand. You know, this is a red log that I used to capture risk. So this is where it lose. Under here we see elements, key elements. So these are elements. Capture it as element. We have risk as element, assumption. We have issue, have dependency, and ID here. Like we talk about unique identifier. Under ID, you have under risk ID is R01. That is, you find that there is no, you can't have any R01 in this red log until we finish this project. So this become a unique identifier. Under description, we have here delay in vendor onboarding. Delay is always one way of where risks start coming. So if you're a project manager, you must have an eagle eye for delays. This is where your problem starts. Delay is a monster in project management. And the likelihood of it happening is high, and the impact is always high. And somebody with, evaluate your team, assign ownership based on experience. It's expected that project manager should know more about delay, how to manage delay, how to resolve delay. So we assign it to project manager. Mitigation, prioritize key vendors. Initiate earlier onboarding. That is it. All the key vendors, important vendors that matters to us, we don't want to hear any delay on this. We don't want them to change their mind. So we prioritize vendors and initiate early. And here the status is open because we have not resolved. So then we have assumptions here. Assumptions, sufficient vendor available. We assume we are going to have sufficient vendors. What if we don't have sufficient vendor at the end of their size? Wahala for us. So, and the likelihood, medium, impact, moderate, then we can assign this project manager or business analyst. Will give it to business analyst. So that business analyst must have a better knowledge of vendor analysis. And then vendor analysis before expansion. We analyze vendor before and then validated. If that is done, validated or not validated, open or close. Then we'll have issues. Issues are risk that has happened. You see, the unique identifier is I001. And description, low customer satisfaction in new area. Customers are not happy in new area. And likelihood of it happening is medium. If it's happened, the impact is going to be high. And the owner, we get customer support. Customer support should have a better experience or knowledge on how to support customer, knowing their satisfaction. You must have handled customer satisfaction rate. So what do we do? Mitigation, analyze complaints, and adjust service quality. They are not happy. You are the customer support. All the complaints you are getting from customer, we carry analysis to know how to adjust. If they are not happy with a particular product or they are not happy with a particular vendor, then we quickly find out those vendors, or they are not happy with the delivery time. Maybe the delivery drivers are always late. Then we'll find out why they are late, or if they're a particular delivery person that is causing all this, we find these are what should be done. And the status in progress, and then dependencies. D001, reliance on local delivery partners. Reliance on local delivery partners. And likelihood of what's happening is high. If it's happened, the impact is going to be moderate. And owner will have logistic lead. You must have better knowledge of logistic need than any other person in our team. And mitigation or action, establish partners with reliable vendors. And the status here is pending. So this is how it can be captured. Or you see, this is one document. We are using one document to capture risk. We're using it to capture assumption, capture. So in one document, this is RAID log. Then, if you are not using RAID log, if you're only using risk register, we have got you covered as well. This is an example of a risk register. You see here, we don't have all these elements. No element like we have. What only thing we have here is a risk ID, which is have R001, R002, R003, and infinitum. And then we have here description. The R001 is slow onboarding of new vendors. Category operational. Like I say, you need to capture category. Then likelihood high. If it happened, the impact is going to be high. And mitigation plan initiates vendor selection process early and assign this a risk to project manager, and the status is still open. And you see another one, R002, description, unreliable local partner. And who logistics is the category, and likelihood of it happening is medium. If it happens, the impact is going to be high. And mitigation plan, partner with experienced providers and track metrics, and we'll give it to logistic lead, and it's still open. And another one, platform downtime due to high demand. This is technical, and likelihood is low. If it happened, it's time, because if it happened, it means our platform will be down and nobody could access services. And mitigation, increase server capacity in anticipation of demand. For instance, during Christmas period where we're having high demand, or during the evening where people are back from work, a lot of people will be demand, or during weekend where people will be at home, a lot of people want to order food from home and things like that, to make sure that our server capacity is very strong at this point. And this should be for the IT team. And in terms of status, close, so you can see mitigated. And then finally here you see budget. Budget overrun in initial stage, and this is financial risk. and likelihood of it happen is medium. If it happen, moderate. Set aside, this one is going to be financial manager or a project manager can do that as well. Set aside contingency fund for unforeseen costs, and it's up. So this is, you can see this is only risk, and this is the risk assumption, issue, and dependency. So it's up to you, whichever one you want to choose, but these are two key tools you can use to capture and manage your risk very well. Benefit of using these tools: clear documentation. It helps you to maintain a record of all project risk issues, assumptions, and dependencies. Risk visibility, highlight critical project risk and assign responsibility for each. Proactive management enable team to identify and respond to risk before they escalate, and enhance communication, keep stakeholders informed on potential challenges and mitigation effort. Stakeholders, they are so much interested in this red log, because once they are seeing it, they are happy. They know how you are capturing the risk. They already seen the risk. They are seeing the effort you are making. This is what they want to see. Don't keep them dark. Their heart will be panicking, pounding, if they don't have visibility of what is happening. This guy can plug this country into chaos, you know. So if they don't see what you are doing, they are not going to be happy with you. Then you start saying the stakeholder, I have mean stakeholders. You know, I greeted him in the morning, he didn't even talk to me. It's like he's not happy. Yes, because we are keeping them in the dark, and they don't want that. Their heart is pounding, because if anything goes wrong, yeah. So that's it. And then let's, if you want, because some of us will want to use a risk priority number. So risk priority number is a numerical score used in risk management to prioritize risk based on its severity, likelihood, and dictatability. It helps determine which risk requires immediate action. And how to calculate it. This is the calculation for RPN. So you have RPN is equal to severity times likelihood times dictatability. That is it. That's how to write it. And how do you get all this? We use a scale of 1 to 5. For instance, you come on severity, you and your team, you get a card. And let's say if you guys are, let's say you guys are typing numbers for you to get severity, everybody will then, within a scale of 1 to 5, everybody will vote. If everybody, after voting, then we'll get the average. That average will become the score for severity. Only you cannot do it if you are working in a team, because you are not working alone. So likelihood, the same way. Everybody will vote on the likelihood in a scale of 1 to 5. So it's going to be a brainstorming section on how to get that. Then after then you get the average. Then you come to dictatability, the same pattern. You get, everybody will vote and get the average. So then if at the end of the day, severity, the average is 4, likelihood, everybody agreed. After voting, we have an average of 3, and this average also. All you need to do is times this 3, 4 times 3 times 4, and that is it, 48. That is the priority number. And that priority number if you come in setting or a project, a red log or risk, we say that that priority number, if is most time is 50, the highest priority will be around 50. If it's between, let's say, 40 to 50 is critical. If it's between 25 to 40, you say is high. If it's between 15 to 25, we can say medium, and then 1 to 15 is low. That is where you can so. After getting it, like you can see, this is 48, so it has crossed the threshold of critical, so it is now a critical risk. So with that, let's look at our live red log, how it looks like, and after them we can start collaborating once more. Okay, this is a red log template. I'll share with you, and you can use as you like. If you are working in an organization, you are free to use it. If you are in our project, that's what we are going to use. So in a red, this is what we call dashboard. Dashboard of the madam, please put yourself on mute.
What of your own? I still there with you. I think just second.
Fubara.
Okay. Right.
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, this is a red dashboard. You don't you can't do anything from this dashboard. It's just for you to see the general health. Everything will be reflecting. Like here we have risk. This will help you to know the amount of risk you have and how critical or how high or how moderate or how severe that risk. If looking at here, we have one critical risk. That means it requires urgent attention. Then we have 0 high risk. We have 1 moderate risk, and we have 0. So in total, we have 2 risks. Under assumption, no critical assumption, no high assumption, 1 moderate assumption, no 0, no low and negligible. Then under issue, we have 1 critical issue. We have 0 high issues, 0 moderate, 0 low, 0 no, so a total of 1 issue, but it's critical. Dependencies, we don't have any critical dependency. So we have 1 high dependency, and in a total, we just have 1. So in a total, all the threats we have 5 threats captured here that we are going to be working hard to mitigate. So where is all this coming from? Because so we have the log here. All this dashboard, everything in your log is going to be reflecting on the dashboard. And this is the log. Here, this is where you capture the log. And you see here, you see red category, that is the element. And this is the description. This is the impact. This is the owner, and this is the priority. You see, and this is the risk priority number, and this is the status. And here you can see this is the risk. If you want to start capturing, you come here, you select whatever you want to capture, and you capture. So here you can see risk. It's risk. And if we want to capture, let's capture this risk twice. See? And so that is, you see the way I capture this risk, and I come here, and it's critical, and here again, and it's open. Let's say this one will resolve this. We'll close this, and another one happened again. So yeah, so this one is still open. So that's it. That's how you capture any of this. And yeah, you continue every week. We brainstorm. We first look at all the risk elements. Anything as any expected risk, anywhere we brainstorm. If we don't find any risk, then we'll move on. If we find risk, we'll capture it, we address it, we assign it to owner, and then the owner will decide on the probability, and we can use the RP in order to make sure we capture the right severity, and then we leave it open. We've already assigned it to owner. It's now left for the owner to go and work. The owner can go and have a session. You can call a session. Any team member you feel that can help you to resolve this risk. You can invite the owner, the team member. You can even go outside. Whatever you need to do as within the acceptable level in the organization, you do it to work hard to make sure that it's captured. It's resolved. And once it's time for us to have another meeting, everybody will, give account of the threat, the project threats they are working on. If it's risk, all of them are threats. If it's risk, if it's assumption or issue, or depend, whichever one you are working on, you give account. If once it's closed, once it's mitigated, and everybody is happy, after they said we close it, you don't leave it open, so that will stop confusing people. Once it's this thing, you close it. You see, close this, and that's it. So that's how to use this. And once you are starting, you give it the project title, the project number, revision date, project lead, and revision number. And that's it. If I come up again, you see that all these risks, critical risk, because I've closed all of them, they are going to disappear from our dashboard. And let's say this one as well, I want to close it as well. So we are not going to have any risk again in our dashboard. If I go to dashboard now, you see here on our dashboard, we have zero risk because I've closed all the risk on the log, and that's it. So it's very beautiful interface and very simple, but it's very powerful because it gives you visualization you need, and everything is very you cover every area in managing your risk very professionally. So that's it. I will share it. I will share it with the notes, and that's it. So here I rest my case. So all of you who are still angry, then start firing your missiles. All right. Raphael is still angry. Oh yeah. Fire. Ginika. Oh yeah. Start sending your rockets.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you for taking your time to dissect some of the facts and some of the issues you have raised today. Like you said, I was always raising my hand. That's not J Fuzo.
Yeah, but once it's resolved, we put it down.
Okay.
No.
Sorry,
right, we are waiting, and we'll have a standing rule. If you're asking me a question, you open your camera. Even if you're asking 3 times, open your camera 3 times.
Okay. So my question is coming like is a real life scenario. I'm just asking for an advice. Now, in a scenario, like I know that a delay caused in approval of a project can actually affect the costs of delivering the project. Now, but in this case, it is not a case of delay in approval. It's a case of, should I call it government policy? Because I have a project I'm handling, and then there's a change. There's a change in cost of material, and which would affect the overall cost of executing the project. So, what would you advise I do in such scenario?
Okay, you have you are having an issue of likely budget overrun due to high inflation.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's quite common. So you see in Nigeria, we all know what happened. That before, yeah, we're crying during Buhari, but we know that immediately Buhari handed over. I don't know what happened. Everything boom, from like dollars now, like around 400, or less me use pounds, but I'm very more concerned with. From 500 per naira, 500 pounds per naira to 2,000. What do we call it? We don't have economists here to decide is it a quadruple inflation or hyperinflation or hyper acute chronic inflation. So that is very understandable. All you need to do is capture it, use exceptional circumstance. This situation doesn't happen all the time, so it's exceptional circumstance, and capture it as an exceptional circumstance and address the issue. And describe scenario very well, how you affected the approach. But what you are going to use is a form called, or title called, exceptional circumstance in project management. Once you use that, they should be able to give you listening ear, and they should be able to augment the budget for you. They might decide to give you a supplementary budget. They give, even in government, they give supplementary budget. So, but you have to raise it as an issue, describing it as an exceptional circumstance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Gedeka, you are going to pay for consultation, because this is
that's why we're here, sir.
All right. Gedeka.
Good evening, Mr. Charles.
So I wanted to find out the red log you shared. I observed you don't have the pan column. So is it out of
No, Tony, please put yourself on mute. Okay, give me a carry on.
Okay, I said the red log you shared, that you showed on the screen. I noticed it didn't have a mitigation plan. So I am asking, is it out of place to have it, like in, so that you can capture, even as much as you're capturing the rate, you're also capturing the mitigation you are taking, like the plan you have in that.
The mitigation in the
red log, yes.
Okay.
Because I was thinking that you should also have that column so that as you're capturing what the issue is, you're also trying to see how you can, like capture it in the document as well.
Yeah, because this rate is, for instance, in a team is a central document. So if it might not be open for, because this is going to be a central document that maybe during the meeting, the project manager is going to be using. But yes, you can add a mitigation, but the mitigation can be on its own on another document. So it's not like you see the other one I used, I captured mitigation on the notes. So you can add a mitigation, you can just add another column for mitigation if you want to capture mitigation in there. So it's not like it's static. Are you getting my point? Did you hear what I said? All right, I think we've lost Genika. Then let's move to Kennedy.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Charles.
Kennedy,
yes.
Show your face.
I've opened it, so I don't know. Okay, fine.
Okay, we can see you now.
Yeah.
All right.
My question is about the critical part. I know that every project should have a critical part. I mean, activities that if this activity fail, can overrun that project. Also, this red log, I don't know whether it can be applied to that kind of. I've not heard you talk about it. I don't know whether project management now they don't talk about that critical parts. I mean, some activities.
Did anybody hear me when I talk about critical parts? You say you didn't hear me talk about. Did anybody hear me when I talk about critical parts? Just say yes or no.
Yes, when you talk about the dependencies that the risk we have, that particular risk identified.
I mentioned critical parts so many times in this lesson, and I said in project management, when we are going to do project plan, we are going to we're going to treat critical part as a topic because it's not going to be treated here. But I mention it even outside that. I keep hammering on critical parts, so it means we are not following up. Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to ask. Then my second question, sir, is I noticed that some of these, like this red log, some of this description can happen twice or three times in terms of risk. Now, can't it be associated to, how do we tie it to the activity? If I'm doing a building now, maybe a four-story building, and I have several levels of decking, and of course, some of these risks can appear severally. So how do I know that it's at this level that I'm going to have faced this one, or this level again? I'm still also going to face this kind of risk again. Is there a way that can be captured?
Yeah, we can do that. We'll call it once you have a recurring issue, if you have a business analyst, with this I will come in business analysis. That's why we have business analysts. Then you pass it on to business analysts to analyze. We use what we call root cause analysis to find out the root cause of that recurring problems. Yeah, but if it appears 10 times, you still capture it here 10 times. Anytime it appears, the reoccurrence here in the red log will determine whether you are going to move it to give it a permanent solution. That's where the business analysts come in and have we use root cause analysis. You know, we can use what we call in root cause analysis, why? You keep asking questions. Why did this happen? Why, until there is no more why. There's no way you can ask why. Then by the time you can ask up to 8 whys until you get down to the root cause of the problem. We can equally use what we call fishbone diagram for us to look at the whole skeleton of the problems or a process to see where it's coming in a process, and we'll pinpoint it and give it a permanent barrier.
Okay.
But it's not here in project. We are going to do that or understand that in business analysis. So because business analysis is where we solve problems. So once it becomes a recurring decimal, this is a problem that needs to be given permanent barrier. So that once we bury it, you will not bring out his leg again. At times you do burial, you come out, you see the leg is up. You know, it means it was a shallow grave. You need to dig down and bury it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jackson. Keep using the
All right. Thank you, Kennedy. And let's hear from Michael Okoro.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Charles. Please, I would like you to go over that the RPN, the formula for the RPN, and severity of risk again. I kind of lost you at that point.
Okay, you have the formula on the notes. You can, but for the sake of clarity, it's here, so you can. That's the formula here. We say is R times yeah, that's what it's. So it at the bottom of this notes here. So the formula is clear here. How to calculate it. So here is as it. Severity times likelihood times detectability. You times all of them. That's S times L times D. You get the total number, and for you to get each of these, like you want to get the severity, which you can see this one is 4, you need to use a scale of 1 to 5. In a scale of 1 to 5, how do you scale this particular the severity of this risk? If you are doing for risk, how do you scale it? 1 to 5. And team members, everybody will start voting. Some will say, I rate it, I will scale it 1. Some will say, no, how do you say 1? This is too much. I'll give it 5. Some say, why are you just saying 5? This small thing, 2. At the end of the day, you capture everybody's input. So it's going to be brainstorming. After everybody must have brainstormed, we sum it up together and divide them. using average. We get the average, and the average is what we're going to be the severity. So it's not a computer, it's a brainstorming session. Everybody will make an input. Or if you are working alone as a low ranger, you use your own standard, your judgment to give it a scale. If you think is a 5, you give it 5. If you are working alone, if you think is the house, the severity is 4, you give it 4. But if you are working as a group, everybody make input and you get the average. Once you get the figure for severity, figure for likelihood, and figure for detectability. So the severity is the high, high impact. You see under this is possible and this hard to detect. So once you get all this, you times all of them. Once you times all of them, you get the RPN, that is a risk priority number that will help you to prioritize it. And I said, if you get it, the overall risk priority number can be, let's say, 50. Most cases is 50. If it's 50, then you say that the criticalness of can be any risk that be within 40 to 50 is critical, and between 25 to 40 is high, and between let me just put it here. So let's say the RPN is 50, and between, that's critical, is 40 to 50, and we say high is 25 to 40, and we equally say medium is 15 to 25, and low is 1 or 0, 1 to 15. Yeah, to 15. And you can give this one. This one can be critical. You give it red. And this one can be amber. This is amber, and this is yellow, and this is blue. And give it yeah, blue. So that's it. I hope you can have a better understanding now.
Yes, I can actually. Yeah.
So it's on your notes. If you get the notes, you can, yeah. So after that, so you can see from here, this is 48. So where do you classify 48 now? Where? Asking your question, where do we classify 48?
Like a high impact.
Critical. It's
Okay,
critical.
under this data migration failure. Data migration failure as a risk, it should be here. It should be critical. So we can just say critical. We can use this color and say it's critical. So we know that it's critical. And yeah. So it's critical. And that's it. Yeah. So all right, back to, we have one person that is still angry with me. Oh, more people. Okay, Manuel Ajay. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Sure.
Okay. Well done, Mr. Charles. So I would like to clarify that the risk identification and assessment, is it done before the project starts or while we're in while the project is ongoing, in the process of working on the project? When do we do the risk assessment and identification and assessment and the likes using rate?
You start from the day one.
Okay.
So before the project, if you look at we talk about, do you follow the class on project brief?
Yes, I do.
Did we talk about risk identification?
Yes.
Good. Do we follow the class on project charter?
Yes.
Do we talk about risk?
Yes, we did.
What do we call it there?
Risk.
Not risk. Call it expected risk.
Okay.
So something you can expect, it can have based on professional experience. We call it expected risk. And then what is the rate is telling you? What do we say? We have it every week, and we'll continue to capture and we'll continue to address. We'll continue on. Is a continuous process. As long as this project is concerned, even before you start, you must start, observing risk. Once the project is going on, you continue. You cannot say, yes, I've done my risk management. It's not a one-off thing. It's a continuous process. You must dedicate one day in a week to meet, to capture new risk and to address the one you've captured. It's a continuous, it continues to go on and on and on and on until finally the project closure report is written, and that is when it's going to end.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Sia, what is troubling you? What is troubling your mind? Have I committed? We can't hear you. Sia, we can't hear you. Is anyone hearing Sia?
All right, can you hear me now, sir?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Shells. Good evening, everyone. I just want to confirm when the project starter notes will be available, because the video is portal, but the notes are not there.
Okay, maybe it's, I'm not the one that is doing that. We'll have someone who is doing that. But now we have Eche. So Eche will be making sure that is equally there. So I always try to upload notes on the platform. Once I finish, I upload notes on the WhatsApp group so that you can have access to the notes, and you can, when we're uploading the video in the portal, we attach notes as well. So, but it's going to be addressed.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. So are you happy now? So I hope everybody is happy now. Are we in agreement to close this this class? Yeah.
Yes, sir, we are.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we have.
Thank you for joining tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good evening.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
All right.
Sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Shells.
Thank you.
Goodbye.